Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. The sun is shining here in the UK, and that can mean only one thing, a good old sunscreen video. Once a year, I like to share with you what I think are the very best sunscreens of that particular year so that you guys can get your protection locked and loaded for the full 12 months. Now, unfortunately, in 2025, a lot happened in the sunscreen industry, and I think trust in sunscreen brands is at an all-time low. I covered this in a recent video, which I'll dig out and I'll leave a link to up there. However, sunscreen remains one of the most important steps in our skincare routine if we're looking to minimize photo aging, protect collagen, and fade hyperpigmentation. There are some really good guys in the sunscreen industry that are fully open, transparent, publish all their data so that we know what we're putting on our skin is giving us the protection that we need. And that's what we're celebrating in today's video. This is my top 10 sunscreens you can trust. In every instance here, the brands have released their data, been open and transparent, and we know exactly what we're putting on our skin. So sit back, relax, let's talk the top 10 sunscreens of 2026. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you my sunscreen favorites, and this collection really has been curated over the past 5 years of my own sunscreen journey. Sunscreens, SPFs, they've come a long way, and there's something here for everyone. I would love to know though what your personal sunscreen favorite is, so let me know down in the comments section below. Share with me that one product that never steers you wrong. Shout it to the rooftops, because here on Mad About Skin, we're one big family, and I really do believe we can learn from each and every one of us. And I guess in that ethos, if you haven't already, whilst you're down there leaving your comment, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Join our wonderful and growing family, because I think I speak for everyone when I say we would love to have you as part of the crew. Now, without further ado, let's cut that waffle and delve straight on in. Now, I'm not going to go through this video in any particular order, because I think when it comes to sunscreen, it really is a case of using what works for you. Different formulas, different finishes will work differently on different skin types, and I really think in 2026 we should celebrate our uniqueness. What makes our skin special is that it's entirely different to everybody else's, and it's about finding the products that work in synergy with our individual skin and clinging onto them like they're our best friend. That is particularly the case with sunscreen, where there is a lot of variety and lots of different factors. So don't feel that you're missing out because you prefer one sunscreen over the viral, most popular one of the moment. Find the one that works for you and really treasure it. I have left links to all the products mentioned in today's video down in the description box below. So if you did want to check the price point, read the reviews, make a purchase, then all those links are there for your convenience. And we're kicking things off strong with what I think is the true good guy brand in the sunscreen industry, and that's this, Ultrist. Now, as I said, there has been a lot going on in sunscreen over the past couple of years, which I know has dented people's confidence. We've had some bans implemented as a result of certain legislation coming out of the US. We've had instances of brands failing testing and independent verification of their SPF levels. There's been a whole lot going on, and I think that has shaken people's trust. But I'm here to say that these brands are all super trustworthy and just fantastic when it comes to their transparency. And I think leading that charge is Ultrist. I love all of their products, and they have a range of different finishes dependent on what your skin's needs are. So if you like a dewier finish, they've got a product for you. If you like a more matte finish, they've got you covered. How you want to interact with sunscreen is really important, and Ultrist have a product for everybody. So a couple of my favorites. This is the anti-redness, comes in 2 different shades or tones, and it's just a green coloration. It has some green pigment in it, which will help do a light color correct as you protect. This is really great because if you are particularly redness prone or you get a lot of flushing in summer, this will just help offset that, as green cancels out red. As you can see, it doesn't distort the hue of the skin or anything. It's a really natural finish, but will help with color correction. So if you're redness prone, that's a good option. If you like to wear makeup on top of your sunscreen, then maybe go for this one. This is the Ultrist Dermatologist Primer SPF. This adds some grip to it, so it'll like cling onto your makeup, making it last longer. So you don't have to choose between primer or sunscreen. You've got the 2 here. If you want to go really inexpensive, they do literally like a gallon tub for the whole family. So there are no excuses for running out of sunscreen in 2026, because it is literally like a vat of sunscreen, really inexpensive. They've thought about everything. Ultrist are wonderful. They're an absolutely amazing brand. And when I talk about transparency, this is what I mean. They put the PPD rating on each bottle Different PPD ratings per different product, but fully transparent. And what you want to look for is a PPD over 19. That means you're getting broad spectrum protection. The SPF value will tell you what protection you're getting against UVB rays, the ones that primarily burn the skin. The UVA protection is indicated by a PPD score. A brand should let you know what the PPD is of their rating. Even better if they just put it on the packaging for everyone to see. Look for a rating over 19 to make sure you're getting that broad spectrum coverage. Now, I think one of the biggest industries to be impacted by some of the scandals over the past 3 years is the Korean sunscreen industry. And I think a mark of a brand is if they fail but come back stronger. I think that shows that they're really willing to put the work in, to be better, to learn from their mistakes. And a lot of Korean sunscreen brands have done that. There was a huge scandal around 3 years ago around the levels of protection that Korean sunscreen brands were advertising, not living up to the claims in independent testing. That was a whole thing in its own right, and I know it turned a lot of people off Korean sunscreens, myself included. But a lot of the brands came back more transparent than ever, having done their lab work and really come up with some next level formulas. And these are the 3 recommendations I make from the Korean sunscreen market, because fully transparent and they've released all their testing. Let's start out with this. This is the Haru Haru Wonder Black Rice Pure Mineral Daily Sunscreen. This is great if you like mineral sunscreen. It's not for me. I prefer a chemical sunscreen. I just feel it works better with my acne prone skin. But I know a lot of people do like mineral sunscreens, particularly in the US. Mineral sunscreens are tiny, tiny, tiny for the rest of the world. In the US, they actually represent about 20 to 25% of the market. So if you're in the US and you love your mineral sunscreen, this is a great option. If you're shopping internationally, maybe you want to try a mineral sunscreen, this is a really good option to go for. It doesn't have any white cast to it, which is really rare for a mineral sunscreen. A lot of the times they have quite a visible cast to them, which puts people off, particularly if you have a deeper, darker and richer skin tone. Mineral sunscreens often don't work. This one doesn't. It actually works beautifully on skin. Now, I will say it takes a little bit longer to rub in than a chemical sunscreen. That's normal. That's just mineral sunscreens for you. But look at that. Look at that finish. You can't see it, it's invisible, and I appreciate I don't have a deep, dark and rich skin tone, so I don't want to speak for people that, I'm not, but I think you can see that on my skin tone, it doesn't change anything or distort anything. And that's the same with a lot of content creators I've seen with darker skin tones talking about this product. They had the same experience. So I'll find a couple and leave links to them down in the description box below, so you can see it on a range of different skin tones. I think that's really important, especially with mineral sunscreens. Release their testing, broad spectrum, love all of that. We then have this one, which is the non-buzzing Pure Full Calming Water Sunscreen. Now, actually, didn't get caught up in the original Korean sunscreen scandal. Passed with flying colours, so that's a tick in the box. You don't have to reformulate if you never failed in the first place, I guess, is the ethos. This, so good. Again, I'd say this is very similar to the Ultras, as it has some redness colour correction, so these could be used interchangeably. Broad spectrum release their data. What they also release, though, is some data into how this cools the skin. So they make a claim about this product that if you use it, it will actually take the temperature of the skin down. So if you're someone that's very redness prone, your skin becomes very hot and flustered in summer, this is a great option. And that testing actually showed it reduced the temperature by about 4 degrees. That is groundbreaking for anybody that has that prickly, that overheated sensation in the sun. This could work really, really well for you, and I love the transparency. I will do a little demo for you so you can see how it looks versus that Ultrist one if you're interested. As you can see, it's slightly lighter in terms of its pigment. It's not as green, so it'll give it gives less of a colour correction, less of an intense colour correction, but it still works to be anti-redness. And it's just really, really nice product. And like I say, you don't have to go back to the drawing board if you never failed in the first place. Non-buzzing. Amazing. And then last, when it comes to Korean sunscreens, this is the Sun by My V10 Higher Air Fit sunscreen. Now, this is designed to be a Korean sunscreen inspired by the Korean sunscreen ethos, but is actually applicable for the US market. So one of the big changes in sunscreen is that if you're shopping within the US, you're finding it increasingly difficult to get your hands on Korean formulas because of the outdated regulations from the FDA. It's an FDA US problem, it's not a Korean skincare problem, but it does mean that US consumers aren't getting the best formulas when it comes to Korean sunscreens. A lot of brands have just come out with quite lazy formulated US compliant versions, which are garbage, not nice, always stick to the original. Some by might actually went back to the drawing board and said, okay, let's try and create the very best US compliant sunscreen we can. And they created this. I love it. So it's got a drugs fact label on, so it can be sold in US stores, it can be sold online to US consumers, no problem with that. So if you're watching this from the US, you can get your hands on this. I think this is, and I'm going to come on to another recommendation in a minute that's similar, this is probably the best you're going to get of US compliant sunscreens. Is it perfect? No, I think some of the other ones are still a little bit lighter, but it works. It feels lightweight, it's broad spectrum, and I just think it's a really, really nice product. Yeah. Like I say, it's not perfect. There are some other Korean ones I prefer, but if you're in the US market and you want to be able to walk into a store and buy a Korean sunscreen, this is the best you're going to get. Now, I mentioned again about trying to create the very best US compliant sunscreen possible. Another brand that's tried that, I think, really successfully is Crave. This is the Crave Beat the Sun. Now, this is their US compliant one. They had an original sunscreen, which was a Korean sunscreen, inspired sunscreen, which was caught up in the Korean sunscreen scandal. They pulled it, they came back with this product, which is US compliant, so it could be sold globally. People loved it, and it is a really nice product, but people said, could we not just have the original formula with more guaranteed SPF? They said yes. They do two versions. They do this for the US market, and they do another, which I'll leave an image of here, for the rest of the world. I'll leave links to both down in the description, so depending on where you're shopping, you can buy the one that's applicable to you. Honestly, this is probably my favourite of the US compliant sunscreens. It's the one that I think delivers the nicest finish, if I'm honest. So if I was living in the US, this is probably the one that I would be buying from stores, because again, it's available in physical retailers. Yeah, look how lightweight that is. It's super lightweight. I absolutely love it. It's SPF 40, so it's not 50, but dermatologists recommend anything over 30, so this aligns with that. And it is broad spectrum too. So yeah, I appreciate Crave going back to the drawing board and thinking, what can we do? How do we approach this? Learning from the mistakes, and yeah, I'm fully on board with that. Now, one of the biggest complaints people have with sunscreens is it stings their eyes. I hear you. I understand that. I have sensitive eyes, and if I use the wrong formula, the wrong UV filter, my eyes are on fire for the rest of the day. And I know that is actually reportedly the #1 reason that people say they don't use sunscreen. Like, I just can't get it to work with my eyes. No matter how I apply it, I'm just streaming all day long, and let's be honest, who actually wants that? Nobody. So if you have really sensitive eyes, there are a couple of products that I would recommend. So first of all, when I came out with my own sunscreen, I wanted to make it in a way which is going to be as compatible as possible with as many people's eyes as possible, if that makes sense. It's impossible to say that a sunscreen will cause irritation to nobody on planet Earth, because we're all unique and our eyes will respond differently. But I created a formula which is going to be as sensitive eye friendly as humanly possible, so that as many people as possible can use it and enjoy it. And the feedback has been, honestly, like music to my ears. People saying, I struggle to use other sunscreens, I can use this around my eye, no problems at all. And this just makes me so happy. So yeah, I created this, which is the Mad About Skin Protect and Hydrate sunscreen. This is also the cheapest of the sunscreens in today's, if you go like mil for mil, this is the cheapest of the sunscreens in today's list, which is another real source of pride for me, because I'm a huge advocate that sunscreen shouldn't break the bank. It should be accessible to everybody, and I want affordable sunscreens. And so I put my money where my mouth is and created the most affordable sunscreen in this best of list. So yeah, you can either buy it as a single unit, and it's 100 mil. So remember, it's 100 mil, so it's double. Like most of these other sunscreens, it's actually double the quantity. You can feel it. This is packed full of sunscreen. Absolutely jam-packed. 100 mil, so double your standard size for the same price as the other. So mil for mil, this is the cheapest option. We also do a trio where it's 33% off buying them individually. So if you buy the trio, it works out the equivalent of about £6 per 50 mil, which when you compare it to, say, some by my, which is £16 for 50 mil, it's a big price saving, which I'm just so proud of. So yeah, if you want to do super affordable sunscreen that doesn't cause the eyes to stream or irritate, then this is the one that I would recommend. I'm just so overwhelmed by all the positive response that you guys have had to it. Honestly, Yeah, it's a real source of pride because sunscreens are hard to formulate, but I wanted to do it right and at a price point that everybody could enjoy. And yeah, I'm so happy I've been able to do that. So just thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I will give you a little demo of this one. It comes with, I take the top off because it's easier, but you can. It comes with a slip-proof cap, so you can travel with it without it leaking anyway. Leak-proof cap is what I was trying to think of. There you go. You see that goes in? Look at that. And it's not super greasy. A lot of sunscreens translate as greasy. If, like me, you have oily skin, you don't want greasy. Look at that. It's just a good skin day finish. I am so proud of this. I'm going to stop my fangirling. I created it, so I am really proud of it. But yeah, of all the products we created, I think this one is my favourite. And fragrance-free, as are all the products mentioned today. If you did want an eye-specific sunscreen though, they do exist, and my actual favorite is the Medicae Advanced Day Eye Cream. So this one contains caffeine, it contains other beneficial under eye treatments and skincare ingredients, and sunscreen, and they've chosen UV filters which are going to be the most compatible for sensitive eyes, so this shouldn't cause watering, sensitivity and irritation, and it's an eye cream at the same time. So if you want eye cream and sunscreen all in one, this is what I go for. I think it's about £40, so it's not the cheapest. It's not the cheapest out there, but if you see it as an eye cream and sunscreen all in one, I think that becomes a much more accessible price point, which I personally really appreciate. Medicae are doing some really innovative stuff in skincare right now, and I think this is one of them. Having eye cream and sunscreen all in one is a really, really great option. So now if you're watching this from Europe, sending lots and lots of love, this is my go-to for all my European beach holidays. When I'm on the beach in Europe, I will reach for this. This is the Garnier Ombre Solaire Hydro Protect. Now, Garnier, one of my favorite sunscreen brands, because they release the testing on every single one of their products. So they are fully transparent across their whole range, no ifs, no buts. And to see a really big name brand like Garnier leading the charge with that transparency is like music to my ears. I love it. This is fantastic, super inexpensive. So again, very budget friendly. You get a large quantity. I think there's 200 ml in here, so you can use it all over the body, on the family, take it to the beach with you. This is just a great, tried, tested, affordable and transparent sunscreen that I recommend to everybody. Again, it's one of the nicest body sunscreens in terms of the application. Some of the other ones I've talked about today are a little bit thinner in terms of their viscosity, which might appeal on the face, but on the body, this is second to none, and I just love it. It's just beautiful. If you're fed up of feeling greasy and horrible on the beach, get this, because you won't have that problem anymore. And then last but by no means least, I always like to throw in an honourable mention for the water-resistant sunscreen lovelies out there. Some people love a water-resistant sunscreen moment. I don't use them day to day because I find them a little heavier, more expensive. So I save them when I'm doing outdoor swimming, which is one of my favourite things to do. Then I'll use a water-resistant sunscreen. If I'm in the sea, absolutely. Rest of the time, just use one of the regular sunscreens. But if you want what I think is the best water-resistant sunscreen, get the Allies of Skin The One Invisible Sunscreen Gel. Water-resistant to 80 minutes, truly invisible because it's a transparent gel, doesn't sensitize, doesn't burn, just locked, loaded protection that they've been, again, fully transparent about. This is my go-to when I'm in the sea, when I'm doing outdoor swimming. There is no other product I use because I just trust this even when I'm in and out of the water. It's amazing. I don't use it day to day because it's more expensive than the other ones and I don't think I need it. But if you're somebody that likes to have your water resistant sunscreen on lock, this is the one that I would go for. And there you have it, guys. I'm out of breath. A whistle-stop tour of the top 10 tried, trusted sunscreens that you should be using in 2026. Let's not phone it in when it comes to our sun protection. It's the most important step of our skincare routine, and using any one of these products is going to be a guaranteed way to get that protection. These are the sunscreens you can trust, and hopefully I've helped you just a little bit along your own sunscreen journey. So let me know your thoughts, share your favourites down in the comment section below. And I think this is probably going to be one of the longer videos I film on this channel. It's rare we go over 20 minutes, and I think this one is. So if you've watched to the bitter end, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. And just so I can thank you for being part of that bitter end crew, if you have made it this far, drop the sunshine emoji down in the comments section. I mean, if you can find a sunscreen emoji, drop that too. I'd love to see it. But if you can drop the sunshine emoji down in the comments so I can personally thank you for being with me to the bitter end. Wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well, and love your skin. Take care. Bye.